All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. We are back again with another live stream. This time, members call-in is upon us. So if you want to voice your opinion, if you want to be heard in the community, join in the call-in show. You do have to become a member. So become a member. I should put the link for becoming a member, which I'll do very, very soon. But meanwhile, hope you guys are all doing well. Big up each and every one of you guys. Lots of transfer news to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of transfer news. Let me just quickly provide the link. Just bear with me. There you go. I've just provided the link. If you want to become a member and be part of the members call-in show, you can do so. But yeah, big up to Brian, big up to Jordan, Rain, Chelsea Blue Till I Die. Yes, this news literally just popped in like a moment ago. So basically, Chelsea are trying to complete a deal for 18-year-old striker Milos Lukovic, who will then head straight to Strasbourg. Apparently, this is not Chelsea trying to buy the player. This is actually Strasbourg trying to buy the player. So this information could be a little bit misled. I know the tweet. This is basically the tweet from the Secret Scout. Boom, Chelsea trying to complete a deal for 18-year-old striker Milos Lukovic, who will then head to Strasbourg. Apparently, this is not the case, because we've already used up enough spots for our loan, for any of the loan moves. So this is actually being purchased by Strasbourg, who are using Chelsea, Chelsea scouts, obviously. All right, we've got Alhambra in the house. Alhambra, my brother, how you doing?
Big up, Miz. Big up the chat.
Big up, bro.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well, man. Yes. How's things, bro? How was the New Year's, bro?
It was chill. Actually, to be honest with you, I was in bed at 11:50 just to sleep away 2023.
10 minutes before midnight.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I just do that. You know, people are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna do it."
It's too mainstream to be up at midnight, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, everyone does that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just I'm doing things not by the book. It's New Year somewhere, so just go to bed. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But by the time it was 11:50 for you, I'd already celebrated my New Year's, so I was
there. You go.
Well ahead. So
there you go.
You're right. It was New Year's somewhere. I slept actually at 2 a.m. and I had a late night. My cousins and my wife, my uncles, aunties, I think they slept at like 4 a.m. I was gone by 2. 2 was like the maximum. But no, it was a good party, man. It was a good celebration with friends and family. But man, we're here. I've got lots to talk about, man. I was actually referring to some of your points in All You Can Eat Chelsea. I don't know if you caught
I haven't watched that yet. I've got it on the list. I might bring out the popcorn and watch that.
Watch it, bro. Watch it
for sure.
It was a good show yesterday. We went on for a couple of hours, so we went on for quite a while, but it felt good to talk all of that out. And I want to take this opportunity to elaborate a few more of the points that we touched on yesterday. I think you're going to have some very, very interesting points to talk about all of that. But yeah, big up to Mayank, big up to Amir, Martin. We got Lonwabo, hopefully I pronounced that right. President Jafar, big up to you. Rafael, my man, big up, brother. Big up to Rafael. Milo, okay, big up to you as well. And the Chelsea boy, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, first up, Alhambra. Andrey Santos has returned from Nottingham Forest. There are few fans within the fan base a little bit irate that Nottingham Forest, thank you for not using him. Like, what the hell? Why'd you get him? quite upset with Nottingham Forest. I'm more upset with Chelsea because at the end of the day, Nottingham Forest don't really have an obligation to do anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I guess why did you get the player? But they're not obligated to really develop our player and then give him back to us. I'm just upset with us that why did we waste 6 months of this player's time at Nottingham Forest, knowing that this team was always stacked, and it's not the kind of team that you want to send a young player where essentially the team is fighting in the relegation battle. They're going to be struggling, and they need more experience. So let's talk a little bit about that before we talk about how he's now back to Chelsea Football Club and what that actually means for us. Will you be annoyed by that loan move when you first heard last summer?
I was naive. I thought that they had picked the right, they thought it through. Here's a team that, wants him, and that basically this is going to be a good fit and he'll develop. And sure, when a promoted team stays up, the second season's always a little bit difficult, but it's not as if, at least I thought at the beginning of the season, I did not put Nottingham Forest to be where they are now. I thought that they would be probably where Chelsea is, and I thought Chelsea would be a little bit higher. I thought they'd be solidly mid-table. And so, in my view, I thought, yeah, he should develop. But obviously, that didn't happen. And I think that this is a failure on multiple levels. So the first thing is that the way that Nottingham Forest operate is probably worse than Chelsea. I didn't know that was possible. So there is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Chris Houghton, who now is managing Ghana, he came on TalkSport a few weeks back. Talk a bit about Ghana, but mostly about the whole situation in all the clubs that he's been at. And I think he said at Nottingham Forest, basically, there were a couple of players that came. He had no idea. They just turned up like, who are you guys? You're like,
wow.
And
so the managers have like complete disengagement with the sporting directors or the owners.
They have absolutely zero say in what goes on, and you can tell, like, it's a huge squad. It's there are Montiel, right? They're right back, I believe. The guy that scored the winning penalty in the World Cup. There were times where he wasn't even in the team because the squad was that big. Anyway, so you're a sporting director. You're looking at this situation. I guess that they probably thought, oh, this is normal because this is how we operate. But how on earth are you going to get somebody to develop in that kind of environment? The manager doesn't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
And so you've kind of just left him to the wolves. Now, the pivot at Nottingham Forest, depending on in the Manchester United game, they played Ryan Yates and the Brazilian guy.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Let me just check this out. It's here. Let me just check this out. Nottingham Forest. Check out the last game. Oops, sorry. 2-1. They won. Lineup: Nottingham Forest midfield. Ryan Yates and Danilo. That's it. Danilo.
That's the guy. Yeah, Danilo. So everyone is like waxing lyrical. So this is the other question. Okay, so we've got so the first part is the sporting directors and the decision to even put him in that kind of environment, not the right fit. Okay, so there's that. And there's examples here. Montiel, World Cup winning penalty with Argentina, hasn't
Yes.
even started in these. So that is one part. Now, the second part is Andrey Santos better than Ryan Yates? Because if he isn't right now, as today, then I'm starting to really question the talent idea of these guys.
Yeah. Fair enough.
No, I mean, if you're not better than Ryan Yates at this age,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And it's not like that they will say.
I want to check out Ryan Yates, actually. I don't know too much about him. He's English. He's captain of Nottingham Forest, apparently. He's 26 years old, 43 appearances in the Premier League. I mean, it's not like he's supremely experienced. Do you know what I mean?
He's not. I think they've been playing around with the captains. I mean, Gibbs White has been the captain. Last year, the goalkeeper, God, again, names of
Keylor Neves.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
He was the goalkeeper. So it's not as if like he's like the leader that has the captaincy all this time and is an established member of the leadership. So the thing is that the way that they're talking about Andrey Santos, it's not like.
And this as well, by the way, Alhambra.
I'm sorry?
There. And the comment right there as well. Check that out.
Oh, yeah. Sangare. Yes, exactly. Sangare. I think Sangare played in that the 5-0 defeat, and then he kind of disappeared. I don't think Nuno fancies him at all. But yeah, Sangare. And there's another guy as well. There was another guy in that 5-0 win, 5-0 defeat. Plenty of double pivots, right? So you can, you've got all types of double pivots. He's not even making the squad. I haven't seen all the stats, but I haven't. There are many games where I just randomly check in just to see, and he's not in the squad. So I get it. There's this element of you've got really experienced, talented players that haven't even made the first team or the squad because of the size. I get that, but they at least break their way in at some point. And then you add in the way that everyone in the hierarchy is talking about Santos, he's the next coming of, every single amazing midfield that you can think of. You should expect to see one start, just one, for him to force his way through in one start. And neither
so what you're trying to say,
or Nuno put him in.
So what you're trying to say is that in one hand, we can definitely be upset that, why hasn't he been used at all? On the other hand, you're trying to get the fans to sort of think, well, why hasn't he broken in? Like, has he not impressed enough? Has he not trained hard enough? Is that what you're trying to sort of get to, is all that it can't just be all aim on one side, like you can't clap with one hand.
Exactly.
Is that so? So so basically, what you're saying is you're a little bit concerned that how hasn't he managed to break through, right?
Just get on the subs bench. Have 10-minute cameo. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And so I am concerned about that. I'm concerned about what does that mean? Because it's not, I started my point by talking about the fact that it's Nottingham Forest, right? It's the team, the squad's too big, and you've got certain players that don't make it through, but it's not 100% Nottingham Forest. There has to be some questions asked on how have you not even made it onto the pitch for some minutes in the Premier League.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that. Because you know what, Alhambra? It's very easy to just argue from one direction. Like, it's very easy to just take one stance. But I think it's always good to explore, the other side of the coin, I suppose. Yes, 100% pun intended. It now leads me to the second question, which I think this is going to be interesting to hear from you, what you have to say about this. A lot of fans want him back at Chelsea because we feel that, well, I'm one of them, but now after talking to you, I'm sort of second thinking as well. And this is where I think the conversation is going to get really exciting, really spicy. I was thinking that from what I've seen in the preseason, and I know we shouldn't like harp on about the preseason too much because look, where did the preseason really take us? Didn't really mean anything. But from the performances I saw in the preseason, I felt there was something there with Andrey Santos. I really did. I felt there was some quality there. Now, I'm not saying get him to Chelsea immediately and get him started, like in the starting lineup. No. What I'm saying is I think him being at Chelsea, being around his own teammates, being at his own club, he's going to feel a lot more, I suppose, not feeling out of place. Do you know what I mean? Like he'll feel like he belongs. And then getting those odd minutes off the bench. And I truly felt someone like Andrey Santos is a direct replacement or direct sort of player replica to someone like, say, Enzo Fernandez. Now, after hearing what you kind of had to say, the twist that you gave, is he going to be able to cope, compete against his peers at Chelsea Football Club and also, compete in the Premier League? Like, what's your feel about this player now coming back to Chelsea?
Look, I think this depends on his mental strength, because I can't imagine that this was easy for him to take. As you're talking about, what is he, 18?
Yes.
So he's just come over to the UK. In Brazil. Granted, he was playing in the second division in Brazil, but still was a major part of his previous team's promotion. Had a lot of plaudits, glory, lots of people, wrapping up in cotton wool. Then he comes to Chelsea, and now he's in this, this conveyor belt, and then he goes to Nottingham Forest. He's gone from like sunny beaches to the middle of the Midlands, and he's not even playing.
Yeah.
I guess that he's got some the Brazilian players that can, that he can mingle with.
Yeah.
But this must have bruised his ego. So
for sure,
which way does he go here? Does he cocoon and kind of like shrivel up, or does he fight? I think that with the way that Poch is moving, I don't think it's guaranteed that he would even get minutes, because he probably is going to he probably might do what he did with Madueke. He might say, look, I haven't seen you play, so you've got to prove to me that you've got what it takes to at least even get some
he
minutes.
has seen him play. He has seen him play, by the way, pre-season. And he opted,
of course,
and he opted for him to be loaned out.
Well, actually, that's a great point. Well, exactly. And that's assuming Poch had the say. I don't know.
You'd think a player that was heavily part of the preseason. The preseason, I think, went for, but by the time he went on his loan, like he would have spent at least 6 weeks with Pochettino, right? You'd think that the board, prior to making a decision of sending him on a loan, would have had some conversation, because they made a conscious decision to keep Ugochukwu and send Santos on a loan.
That's fair. The things that are making me doubt all of this, though, are players like Matson. You know, would Ugochukwu have got any minutes had there not been injuries? I know it's like a hypothetical question, but I kind of doubt it. I really do. I kind of doubt it. I think that if Carney doesn't get injured,
if Romeo Lavia doesn't get injured, then
if Romeo Lavia didn't get injured, I don't really. I mean, maybe he might
I
start
agree with you.
a few cup games, maybe a cameo,
Like a Wimbledon, like early days, early cup days.
Yeah. You know, so like Santos is coming in at probably the wrong time. You know, I think. I don't know what's happening with Lavia. I don't know if he's injured again or not, or whatever's happening.
Is he coming back, or what's going on? Like, is the
I've
brother?
no idea.
Yeah, no one said anything. Yeah, another strange one.
But I'm just going to be optimistic and presume Lavia, you know, it's not as serious, and he probably will come back soon. Carney's back.
Yes,
he's full training. Enzo looks like, you know, at least he can be on the pitch. You know, so Caicedo's there.
Yeah.
Yes, you've got now Ugochukwu, who he has at least given some minutes to. Fine, you know, he's been okay. He's not anything to write home about. So where does he fit in? It's, you know, this is
starting
going
to
be
think
tough.
he doesn't. I'm starting to think he doesn't actually. I'm actually now starting to think, and this is where I want to talk to you about. What does Poch want in midfield as well? That's important. Like, does he want a character like Andrey Santos in the midfield? Like, as I said, I feel he's more in the same mold of Enzo Fernandez in somewhat. Maybe a little bit more box to box than Enzo Fernandez, but in terms of passing range and the short passes and the to integrate Enzo Fernandez. I get the feeling he'll probably struggle to integrate Santos as well. Similarly, you don't want to have two of the same problems in the squad, right? So we send him out on a loan to where? And what do we give instructions to Andrey Santos? Like, what do we actually tell him? Like, does he try and mold his game to suit Pochettino's style? Is Pochettino going to be around long term? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's such a. I just feel sorry for this kid, man. I really do. I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that as you pointed out, Santos's kind of midfield career can go in any parts. I think that you can have him as a box to box. You can have him as kind of like a. He could probably play as a regista. You could have him even play as I think you could probably play him probably if you wanted to even as a 10. I think he's got a lot of these abilities. He's just a raw talent, and with a raw talent, you need to have a vision for what this player is going to give you and where you're going to put him in. It goes back to my points that I think I've made about, you know, the whole recruitment policy. When I say patchwork quilt recruitment policy, it's that you're acquiring all of these kind of like, you know, shiny talents without a vision for what they should be. That's development. Development is really about the vision that you have for this player, and it's Santos is exactly that kind of player. What's the vision for him? Because if Poch is struggling to even integrate Enzo into the team, then honestly, for me, I think there's very little hope. that that Santos has got any kind of future at Chelsea,
Yeah.
and he could be another De Bruyne situation. He'll probably go somewhere
Yeah.
else, and he will look quality because there's a vision for that player. You know where Santos would probably fit best? I honestly think if you took him to Newcastle, he'd probably do really well. And by
A
the
lot
way,
of people have been
talking
saying that.
talk about another kind of loan. I know it's not quite a loan that hasn't quite worked out. Hall, another situation, right? So, the thing is that I, I, I think that the this hype around Santos could be plausible, but it will never be realized.
I fully agree.
I don't think it will be. So these guys, they've got to stop hoarding and we've got to make a decision one or the other. And they got to think, what are you gonna do? Are you going to play him and have a plan for him, or sell him? You can't have a player like this just sat there.
Especially talented young players, man. Like, you got to do diligence not to ruin their career. Like, 6 months for a young kid, Alhambra, like someone like Santos, to just waste that Nottingham Forest. We have to understand. I know what you said earlier on, that we have to look at Santos's side as well. Is he training well? Why hasn't he been able to force himself into the squad? We have to also understand he's 18, like he's a kid. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's competing against 22, 23, 24, 25, 26-year-olds. Like, Yates is 26. So I'm just, honestly, you know me. I'm not some sort of a youth enthusiast. Like, I'm like, every youth that comes out, like, yeah, we must have them. I'm not like that. But once we do acquire them and we bring them to the football club, I feel like we have a due diligence on that kid's future. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to make it, but we have to give them a proper opportunity to at least shine. Andrey Santos, before we bought him, like, this guy was everyone was talking about him. I think in the not that long ago, he was in the under-20s World Cup. Is that right, for Brazil? And he was killing it over there. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was the I think it was the Copa America.
Right, under-20s Copa America or something.
Yeah, where he was top goal scorer. He was absolutely.
He was captain. He was captain, right?
And
he was captain of Brazil.
Yeah, he was captain too. And I think that team had all the, I believe it had all the guys in there. Had did not have like Roque in there, and Hendrick, and who else did it
had? All the superstars. It had all the superstars.
all of the Palmeiras guys in there, and he shone in that group. So and he led them. So he's got the talent. He's got the raw talent. The question is, Nottingham Forest, for one reason or another. Okay, so as I said, I think that if you had to portion blame, I think that there are probably three actors here. There's the sporting directors in their loan strategy. There's Nottingham Forest itself. Then there's Santos. But if you were to apply percentages, by far Santos gets like the lowest percentage. I might give it like 10-15% Santos. I'd give it something like 50-60% of sporting directors, and the remainder would be the Nottingham Forest situation. Really, for me, the biggest blame is on the sporting directors for even thinking that was a good idea.
100%.
That was an awful idea. So that's where I would put the blame. But the Nottingham Forest, I think it was. I don't think they were brave enough to actually put a developmental player into the team, because it's the second season in the Premier League. They need to stay in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But is Poch going to be equally brave?
I don't think so. I just don't think so. I mean, let's line up the options now. Let's talk about the midfield. All right, let's actually see where. And don't forget, bro, Cassidy is also there in Leicester. He's actually getting some game time. He's
Yeah,
regularly getting game time off the bench.
yeah.
Maybe that was a good move in the championship. Maybe that should have been what Santos should have done. But anyway, coming back to options, you've got top of the food chain, Mr. Gallagher. Then you've got Caicedo. Then you've got Enzo. Then you've got Lavia. You got Chukwuemeka coming back. Am I missing anyone else? So that's who we got, 5. Then you've got Santos. Then you got Cassidy. Like, these 2 players have featured for Chelsea Football Club in the preseason. How does this guy fit in?
Oh,
We're
got
not
the
in Europe.
Senegalese guy coming in as well.
Under 17 Senegalese, yes.
But that's not until next. Is it the end of this year or 2020? I can't remember.
Next
he turns
season.
18.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he turns 18. So end of this season, he turns 18.
Yeah.
Where does Santos fit in? Where's the plan?
I don't. I don't know. It's a mess. It's a mess. I have no idea, because the thing is that, okay, so you've got all these players. Okay, so now the question that you put to me that I actually haven't answered yet, which is, what does Poch want out of the midfield?
Yes.
Okay, so it's clear that Poch wants athletes in midfield. He wants high intensity pressing. He is probably less kind of interested in the midfield to create chances, but more to kind of push play up the field. And he leaves, obviously the number 10, a Palmer, for example, to be that creative force, and the wingers, etc. But their job is strangle the life out of the opposition, keep the play, as kind of like as tight up the field as possible. So then who are the players that can do something like that? So yes, Gallagher, Caicedo. You put Cassidy in there, but I think that, again, he's too young. Lavia.
Ugochukwu, potentially more of a destroyer type, sort of like a sitter destroyer. Yes,
but look, hasn't done it again. Not because he's not good. I'm sure he'll end up being a fantastic player if he develops, but at this point in time, he's not going to be able to execute exactly what Poch wants.
19 years old as well, man.
19, he's not going to be, that kind of player immediately. And you could put Santos in there, but if you were to kind of think about, if Poch had all of his midfielders fit, who would he likely pick if he, didn't have any pressure on him? I think he'd probably pick Gallagher, Caicedo, Lavia.
I fully agree. I fully agree, because if you look at Pochettino's traits as a manager and what he wants in midfield, he's not looking for tiki-taka technical ability, He's looking for robust. He's looking for pace and power. He's not about the control, hold the ball, who's very good on the ball. He's about quick. Just, I don't really care about holding the ball. Be physical. Make sure you win your duels. Be able to cover a lot of ground. And be powerful in midfield. And then just lay the ball. By any chance?
You broke up a little bit as you were talking.
But did you get most of it, or?
Yeah. I think I got most of it. Yeah. So
yeah.
So then you've got, who are the ones that are kind of, in in that kind of maybe pile or are at risk. So Enzo, Carney,
yes,
and then and those are kind of, I'll put them in the maybes where they have a chance to play a role. And again, I'm presuming this is assuming no pressure. Obviously, this is not realistic. There is going to be pressure to
the
play.
thing about Carney is he could potentially play on other roles as well. That's his plus point. That's his plus point. Yeah,
exactly. So the maybe is Enzo.
Yeah.
The rest, I think, you know, if they buy another club, that's where they go, or they probably end up going on loan or being sold. I think it's as simple as that. I just do not see where even a Cassidy or a Santos, I just don't see if they have a future at Chelsea, which is a real shame. You know, I think you know, Cassidy's done incredibly well in pretty much every spell he's had, probably except Reading. I think Reading he didn't play. I think Paul Ince was the manager at the time, and I think that he was like, I can't
Do you know
play
what?
him.
There were a couple of matches he did play, though. There were actually a couple of matches he did play, and he actually did well, but he didn't play enough.
He didn't play enough. Yeah.
For Enzo Maresca in Leicester, he doesn't really start often enough. He gets the odd start here and there, but he does come off the bench a lot. Like he's genuinely coming off the bench a lot. And he has produced assists, and I think he's produced a couple of goals as well. Don't forget, as you said, that under 17 Senegalese midfielder that we signed as well. He's going to be part of, like, he's a Chelsea player. Chelsea bought him. Strasbourg didn't buy him.
Right.
People talk about, these players are going to go on loan to Strasbourg. We have to understand there's a limit to how many loans, international loans, that you can send out per season, right? 7?
Yeah, I think it's 7.
So there's a lot of players that we want to send out on loan. I don't think we can just send everyone on loan. Do you know what I mean?
No, you can't. I wonder. I don't know for sure whether there is 2 separate rules about kind of affiliated clubs and then third-party clubs, or if it's everyone. I'm not sure. I don't know. I know there was some vote that recently went through in terms of the number of loans that could go to affiliated clubs. But again, I'm not 100% sure. But it goes back to the point here, which is that if there is a cap on these loans and you're buying all of these clubs, then it's not the number of clubs that is your bottleneck. It's just the number of loans that you're allowed. So if I have 2 clubs, 1 club, or 7 clubs, if it's the case that I can only loan out 7 players, that's your lot. So, you know, you're then going to have these other clubs buy the players themselves and use them and take the risk, you know, and their fans aren't going to accept that they're just going to become a nursery for Chelsea.
Well, Strasbourg already are not happy.
Strasbourg already not happy, and you want to go and buy Sporting Lisbon? You know, like, good luck, mate. Like, you'll never be. If you got any homes in the Algarve, sell them, man, because they'll find your address. You know, like, there's no way that you're going to be able to do that with Sporting. So, you know, I think
Sporting is a serious club. You know,
it's a serious club. You know, and they're not gonna boo. You know, they won't boo. No, they're going to do what Ajax fans did. Trust me. You know, they're not going to accept that.
Riot, absolute riot.
They're absolute riot. You know, especially if you know they get like destroyed by Benfica or by, you know, Porto. They ain't going to accept that. No. You know, so you know the issue here is there is too many midfielders and Poch has a very specific style, and these
Correct.
players either are suited to that style, or they can become suited to that style, but it requires for you to play them and take a chance.
Yes.
And I don't think at any point he's going to be comfortable with doing that, because there's always going to be pressure. There's pressure now. There'll be pressure next season.
Yes.
There'll be even more pressure next season.
Yes. And you know what? Wherever they go out on a loan, these players will have to think about adopting a playing style that suits Pochettino's, because that's the only way you're going to get crack into the team. And that's if Pochettino stays long term. Now, let me just bring in Aka, my man. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. How are you? How's everyone doing?
No, not bad, my man. We got Tiger in the house as well. Tiger, how you doing?
Big up, bro. Big up the panel, big up the chat. How are you doing?
Good. The members are slowly flowing in. Great to see. Aka, you wanted to have a chat about this situation. I saw your comment that not everyone's going to make it. Of course, not everyone's going to make it. But I feel sad. Like, bringing these players in, no plan, no nothing, wasted Santos's 6 months. I wish we just stopped doing this and just focus on like getting legit players for the squad and going forward, because what we're doing now is, one, we're stockpiling, two, we're ruining like kids. Like, these are kids, man. These 18, 19, like, we're ruining their mindset. We're scarring them. So what you gotta say about Santos, bro?
About some well, overall, I just think it's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Like, we have this idea of getting all these young players and nurturing them and turning them into this and that, and that's the whole plan, which I disagree with, but that's your plan. I'm not sure how it's gonna work out, because if you keep ruining these young kids' development or not looking after them in the way you should, then these other young talents are not going to want to come to the club. They're going to look at the club and say, well, that young player got messed around, that young player got messed around, that one. So
100.
eventually, eventually your plan is not going to work. So you're going to have to start looking after these kids. But just on an overall perspective, there's a lot of bloating in the squad with loads of young players, and it's not even the age has helped that, because maybe if you had a Sterling who's 28, then you got a Mudryk, that's the age is okay there, in it, because it gives time to Mudryk and it gives enough space for Sterling. But I want Olise here. I don't know about anyone else. I would do anything for Olise, in it. But you can't have Olise, Madueke, Angelo, and Cole Palmer. You just can't do this.
You just can't do that.
Whoever's building the squad, I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe they're thinking for the future as well as now, but it's all kind of jumbled up, isn't it? So
it's a mess, man. It's a mess. The other factor is Santos is playing.
We've got Kendry Paez.
Kendry Paez. I think Kendry Paez is someone I think Chelsea will make a conscious case of integrating him in. But question mark on him. Who knows who the manager is going to be, and whoever it is, are they going to be game enough to play an 18-year-old? We need to understand Paez is 16 now. Still got 2 more years left before he can join the football club. So at 18, he may be well-rounded, sure, but still 18. Do you know what I mean? He's still 18. We have to understand. Let me just quickly take care of these super chats. And Santos around 300, and Gallagher sell looks more and more likely. And I think this is why the whole sell situation of Gallagher's coming on. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a little bit of internet issue, but I've got notified by my provider. They're just doing some work locally, and it's going to have a little bit of impact on the internet. So look, hopefully it's just going to be slight glitch here and there, and it's going to come back. So do apologize for that. Nothing I can do about. But Aka, my man, do you think with all these midfielders that Shubra just named out, how do you, I suppose, potentially in the long run hold on to Gallagher? You can't. Like, he's going to have to go because you invested all this money to bring in all of these midfielders, supreme midfielders, and talented future midfielders. You kind of screwed yourself. Like, you kind of cornered yourself to sell Gallagher later on anyway.
Well, how's anybody going to last here, right? Because manager is going to change and the players are going to have to change if the manager changes. But I would ask this question to everyone. What are your intentions for Chelsea in the next 2-3 years? Okay, like if you see us winning a trophy or challenging for something major, I don't think, this is just my opinion, I don't think you could have your Cassidays, your Santos, all of these young players, because we want to win. Like if you want to have Enzo and Caicedo, Gallagher, you're gonna need someone who's better than what's his name, Chukwuemeka. You're gonna need someone who's better than Santos. You're gonna need, but if you just want to keep building and just keep plugging along steadily and trying to find steady ground, then I understand keeping these young players. But it's hard. Like, how do you, if Pochettino doesn't know how to use Enzo, maybe Enzo's gonna want to leave, you know? And then if Gallagher's playing, if Enzo ends up playing all the time and then the club forces Gallagher to go, then Gallagher goes, and then maybe there's just gonna be so much movement. I think we've had like, I don't know, minimum 3-4 teams in 3-4 years. So I don't understand. Like for me, it feels like we're just gonna keep changing and changing and changing until we win something. But I think we need to stop buying and kind of just work on what we have and get it to work and click. But I don't know. I don't know how we keep any of these players, to be honest.
No, I agree with you, man. Stop buying, man. Just stop buying. I mean, Tiger, let's get you into the conversation now. What's your take on all of this Santos shenanigans? Like, wasted 6 months of his time at Nottingham Forest. Now he's back at Chelsea. I don't know whether he's, him coming back at Chelsea Football Club is clear path. Like, there is a clear path for him at Chelsea as well. Not really sure whether Pochettino fancies a player like Santos, because essentially he saw Santos in the preseason, then let him go on a loan and kept someone like Ugochukwu. And you can see why he kept Ugochukwu, more physical, do you know what I mean, more robust. What's your thoughts? And then we're buying more. Like, we're buying more kids, under 17, Senegalese midfielder. We still haven't figured out a way how to integrate Enzo Fernandez in. That's the bigger fish to fry, I suppose. And then we still, there's all these other kids that are still lined up. Like, it feels like to me it's not a good situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Big up, players, big up. To answer your question, I mean, and I've always highlighted this on this channel, on the streams about Poch, right? I personally think, the major problem with the football club Chelsea right now is there is a whole sense of mismanagement between the managers and the sporting directors and the owners. So there are multiple directions that multiple individuals in the club want us to go in, but the problem is coach wants something else, the manager wants something else, the directors want something else, the owners want something else. And I was hearing reports of, I don't know how much this is true or not. I was hearing reports of that Todd Boehly was not at all, convinced of, signing experience or something like that. But Ekbali believes in a bit, he's more inclined towards experienced players. So if that's true, that's just a piece I read out of thin air. But if that's true, your owners are not even aligned on what approach they want for the club. And then the sporting directors, the sporting directors have appointed, big up Shravan, the sporting directors have appointed a lot of youth, right? And I personally think the Poch has given a lot of time, a lot of game time in preseason to the player we were just talking about, right?
Yes.
He has given time to him, but the only problem is then we bought in a Leslie Ogochukwu, and then we couldn't decide. Then we couldn't decide. Oh, Kasadai, he plays well. He has scored for his country as well. Okay, he's a goal scorer. He can run. He can play cam. And Andrey Santos, very good midfielder, strong, spirited. Poch also wants him in the team, but now we have won Leslie Guchico. He was tackling Messi someday. So that one football notification on Todd Bowley's phone. You know what? Leslie Guchico played against Messi and he was brilliant. Let's
You're a
sign this
joke,
kid.
bro.
And then the sporting directors brought this kid, and then the manager was compulsion to keep him. This is my philosophy. I think that sporting directors said that okay, we're loaning Andrew Santos because it's a future prospect, future pure profit, whatever. But we have bought this kid, Leslie Oguchuku, which is very nice. Play him instead. And neither happened. He is playing Gallagher. And so yeah, and then this whole Gallagher fiasco that is happening right now. He was not staying. He was going to Tottenham Hotspurs. Well, that was shameless. And then he's not now going to Tottenham Hotspurs. Now he's maybe going if we get a 60 million price tag. I mean, sometimes I think, as I said in the starting, there is a lot of mismanagement of thoughts in this club. A lot of people don't know really where they want to be headed. Poch wants to build a team around Gallagher. The owners want to build a team around Enzo last winter. I read reports that Enzo will be the key player around which the whole midfield would be centered, like once we did around Kante and Kovacic and all that.
Yes.
What happened to those plans? And then, if you remember,
Onto the
Miss,
bit.
you have said it a lot of time on the streams, and yesterday you also said it, all you can eat Chelsea, if I'm not wrong, that Caicedo was brought for Enzo
Yes.
to unlock him.
Yeah.
And this man is not even playing Enzo. So there's no point of unlocking right now. And people are saying Enzo would prefer a move. Obviously, he should prefer a move. He's a world-class midfielder. He won a World Cup. He went to Premier League to, actually elevate or, increment his whole career. To maybe stand in the reckoning of the best midfielders of the world, like Kimmich or someone else. But that's not happening in Chelsea.
I want to ask you, Tiger, a question before I go to Sherwin. Which path does Chelsea Football Club go? Do they follow the Pochettino path? Or do they follow the board's path? Because I think there's a misalignment here. Would you agree?
Exactly.
Poch is doing
100%.
something, board is doing something else. I truly feel some of the players that the board have brought in before Poch, they don't match. They don't match his playing style. So what do you do? Do you now change your transfer policy to bring in players that are fast suited to Poch? Or do you think, wait a minute, I've only given him a 2-year contract plus one. That plus one is discretionary. If I want to trigger that, I'll trigger that. If I don't, I don't. It's really a 2-year contract for Pochettino. Which path does Chelsea go? Because I don't want to screw up this second part of this season, man. Like, I was saying this in All You Can Eat Chelsea yesterday, that us fans, majority of us are soft-hearted because we just love the football club so much, right? And we forget very quickly, and we start hoping and we start believing. I think most feel this way. A lot of us are probably saying, do you know what? Whatever's happened so far, effort, it's done. You can rectify it though. You got half a season left, you can rectify it. If Poch, and this is where so many factors has to come in play. If the sporting directors are not supporting Poch with his players that he needs to succeed, and also Poch at the same time making sure the mistakes he's made in the first half of the season, not repeating that again, I will not be able to bear it if by the end of the season we end up staying at 10th or 12th again. Like, that will be disastrous. Like, I will lose my mind. We have an opportunity right now to actually fix this. So which path does Chelsea Football Club go towards, Tiger, is the question that I want to ask you.
Miss, to answer that, and I guess one of the respected members in the panel, Alhambra, I guess, was also saying, and I also uh, not concluded won't be the right word, but I also kind of inferred from what he was saying, as the general understanding of how wise people are seeing the business right now, because he's one of the major brains on this panel. So I'm just saying,
Hmm.
a lot of insights. So yeah. Uh, there are two ways to go about it, Miss. First is, how should it go? The second is, how will it go? Because we all know the owners are not going, the sporting directors are not going, because they are
Hmm.
fully backed by the owners. So, and also I like to point out this to all people who say that, you know what, Todd Bowley and Baghdad Iqbali would wake up to sleep and would smell the coffee. The Chelsea fans are not happy with what's happening with the club, but they have already invested in Racing Strasbourg. They are already in the process to invest in Sporting Lisbon. They're
Hmm.
making the multi-club model. It's going that way, where you want to bring in young players, train them, and get them up a notch, and then sell them from profit. That's the model.
Hmm.
It's for everyone to see out there in the open. If nobody can see it, it's your fault. So that's where we are headed. If someone is saying, no, 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 someday Baghdad Akbali would get incensed, Saud Boli will fire the sporting directors, and sporting directors will get the brain and they will start treating the manager as manager should be treated, and they'll give them full responsibility. That's not happening. That's not happening in this football club. They've already gone beyond that point, in my personal humble opinion. I don't think so. They would reverse their whole policy of building this in a multi club model and go back and say, okay, we'll be the Abramovich version of Chelsea, which was, winning everything. We can still win. I'm not denying that this process is all always headed to destruction or us being mid-table. We can still win the leagues and Champions League and everything. But the
Hmm.
problem is, it won't be immediate. It would take a lot of time and a lot of adjustments. And that's what we have been seeing in the past 2 seasons. Every now and then, adjustments. We lose a match, we look for a player. We lose 5 matches on a trot, discussions start happening about the manager and the tactics he's using. So, I mean, that's where we are headed to. Where we should go is basically just don't touch anything else. Just give the manager what he wants and let him do what he
Hmm.
wants to do. And if he fails, okay, fire the manager, it's done. Bring a manager who actually values winning and who knows how to win, like a Jose Mourinho, like a Conte, like a Sari, maybe, who knows the system, who plays players according to the system.
Hmm.
Maybe get the top names. I don't care. Pay them as much as you want. You're already flushing out money from the supporters and the season tickets on players of 15, 16-year old, which have no guarantee of their future.
Hmm.
So, according to me, it's heading that way, that
Hmm.
we will be seeing very slow progress. And I said on the stream is last time also that what happens after win is people forget all the failures and mistakes. That's the nature of when you
Yeah.
succeed in life or you win in life. That's what has
That's
happened
how
in the last
fans
4 or 5
roll. That's how
games.
fans roll.
Tell me one game where we have win comprehensively, that it was Chelsea from the minute 1 till minute 90. Nothing else. I don't remember a single game this season. Tottenham 4-1, we won because of the 2 red cards. Let me be straight. Man City 4-4, how we have conceded goals, God only knows. We could have won
Hmm.
that match and created a statement victory, but we didn't. Okay, but I'm leaving that match. That match was the best match of the Premier League, but okay, that's an exception, right? Liverpool
Hmm.
match. So it goes on. The list goes on. Luton match. We just
Hmm.
spotted that match. So yeah, that's my point. We have not
No, I hear
won a
you.
single match comprehensively, and we are saying that, you know what? Now we have won 2, 3 matches, and Poch is doing things right. Well, I don't believe it. I would only believe the whole system and the Poch and everything, the shenanigans going on, if he wins us against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. Do that, and I'll start trusting you again, because that is a team to beat. That's a manager to beat. That's a system to beat. And that would be just one win, but that would say a lot about how you're playing and how you're approaching things in life. That's my point, miss.
No, 100% agreed, man. Big up to Feroz, man. Good to see you become a member. Valan, big up to you as well. I'm going to come to both of you guys very, very soon. Shervin, haven't seen you for a little while, man. Firstly, how you doing, brother?
Good. How you guys doing? It's been a while.
Good, man. Good. Latest coming from Fabrizio Romano. Strasbourg are in advanced talks to sign Milos Lukovic, talented 18-year-old Serbian striker, as L'Equipe called. Negotiations in progressing fast for fee in excess of 5 million euros. 10 goals and 1 assist in 19 Serbia's Superliga matches for Lukovic this season. So just to confirm, ladies and gentlemen, this is a purchase from Strasbourg's books. So not from Chelsea, from Strasbourg. At the end of the day, it's still all under the Blues Co. family. So the whole young player motto continues, even for Strasbourg, 18-year-old. Yeah. And no wonder Strasbourg fans are not happy because they're getting the same treatment of, young players trying to infiltrate the team. Now, coming to you, Shervin. We were talking about Andrey Santos and how the loan just didn't work out, and the 6 months wasted. Now he's come back to Chelsea and looks like he's probably going to get loaned out again. We need to be so careful about these young players. We're buying young players regularly, like literally regularly. I feel like we have a due diligence to ensure that there is a plan. It can't just be buy them all and let's just see who sticks. Like David Dr. Fofana, for instance, he's failing at Union Berlin. In the championship, something like that. Then you've got obviously Cassidy, who's doing okay in the championship, coming off the bench. I mean, what's your thoughts on all of these players? Just like we don't seem to have integrated properly our current midfield of Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia, Gallagher, let alone worrying about all of these other players that we should somewhat worry about. At the end of the day, they're our players.
Well, you think we should have a plan. I think the plan is let's just buy as many as we can and then sell as many as we can for as much as we can. I feel like that's the only plan that the owners are thinking about right now. And it's a real shame because a lot of these players are really talented. I really like Cassidy in particular, Santos in particular. But yeah, I mean, there isn't even a proper plan for loaning them to a club that will actually use them, which is crazy. Datra Fofana had a good start at Union Berlin. So maybe that one I can kind of understand that maybe at first it looked like a good loan. But Santos is just unexcusable, right? Like, what is this? Like, who thought this would be a good idea? I have no idea. I don't know what Forrest said that made people think this is going to be a good loan. But yeah, there just needs to be a better plan for incorporating all these players. And I honestly think that if we had at least kept Santos, it would have been much better because we could have used them once in a while whenever we didn't have Enzo or we didn't have Caicedo. And honestly, I wouldn't have hated if we kept him for the rest of the season. I don't know how that works with the competitions, if he can play in all the competitions. If not, then I guess we have no choice. But I don't know. I just don't really know what's going on. I feel like he's going to go to Palace because that's the only option available right now.
I don't even think he's going to play for Palace. Like, honestly,
that's the thing. Yeah, is he going to get playing time there? I don't know. Over who? You know what I mean? Like it's weird.
Is my internet freezing up again? No, it's there. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, once again, sorry about the internet. As I said, like there's some work that's getting done locally and it's affecting the internet. But no, I agree with you, Shervin, man. Just don't know what's actually going to happen with all of these young players. Let's bring in Feroz. Feroz, my man. How you doing, brother?
Hey, how's it going? Good to finally be on here, man. Keep killing it. But all these conversations, there's so much to talk about. Like, this whole thing about getting all these youngsters and then obviously sending some out on loan, but not thinking through. It's just crazy as to like when you actually dissect the entire situation, it's actually really funny and sad at the same time.
Do you know what, Feroz? I'm so glad that you've said that, and I want to elaborate, and I want to see what you have to say about this. Like this seems very immoral. Like it don't feel feel somewhat guilty of destroying young careers. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, look at Santos, for instance, 6 months at Nottingham Forest. Like, as Sherwin said, who thought this out? Like, who was thinking about all of this? Even Angelo Gabriel at Strasbourg is not starting on a regular basis, even though I feel like he's talented. Like, what is the ultimate plan? Like, on top of that, we've not even sorted out our own midfield. Do you know what I mean? Like Enzo Fernandez, for instance, seems to be out of sorts under Pochettino. So, and then that's the other thing. Does Poch rate all of these youngsters? Like, do they meet his criteria to be in his midfield? Because he plays in a different manner. This is why Enzo Fernandez doesn't fit in. All I'm going to say is that we don't have time to screw around anymore. I can't have this second part of the season crash on our head. Like, I feel like we can salvage the situation a little bit to a certain degree. I'm not saying we're going to make it to Champions League positions, this, that, the other, no, but we can at least make it somewhat respectable. But if we don't, I'm going to be so upset.
The thing that I don't know if people have noticed, but it seems like we've been far away from top 4, top 6, and all of that stuff. We're actually only 6 points off of top 6. So it's not impossible. If we actually start taking things seriously from this point onwards, top 6 is a very realistic goal that we could achieve. But are we going to take things seriously? That's a whole other topic, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Go on first.
It's one of those things where this whole top 6 discussion, like, it's sad. It's sad for all of us, but in reality, look where we have been for the last, not just 2 years, but the last like 4, 5. We don't fight for the title, right? And then we sort of got used to this whole top 4 thing, and now even that is like ambitious for us. And it's so sad for me to say all this, it hurts. Yeah. And you mentioned this whole midfield thing. It's weird because obviously this is not an excuse, but our injuries have just been all over the place, right? So that hasn't helped Poch's case, like integrating Lavia and all these other players. But at the same time, right, this whole Enzo thing, in a weird way, it reminds me of the whole unlocking Pogba thing, getting Caicedo in and Lavia in and all, like who is going to be the next player, right? But hopefully that just gets sorted, and I have faith in Lavia and the others to fix that mess. But this whole youngsters thing is something I'm really worried about, because we really got to figure out, especially as you mentioned, right? Because these are like the players' careers, right? It's not a joke.
No.
When they go out on loan, and not just under this ownership, but even under Roman, right? We had this whole stigma of like being that one club along with Juventus to send like 30 players out on loan, right?
Yeah.
And it's just
that's sad. What they call it, the loan army, right?
Exactly.
The loan army started.
So I just hope like things sort of like fall into place and we learn from like the last few decisions we made, because obviously going by like Andrey Santos as well, right? Barca wanted him. PSG even bid 35 million when he was playing for us, right? Or he was in our books. So there is a player in that, but at the same time, it's confusing because we have way too many midfielders now, like way too many. So I'm as confused as you guys.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Van, big up to you, my man. Let's deviate away a little bit from the whole Andrey Santos situation. Let's talk about the second half of this season. Valan, bro, as Shervin said, like, we're not that far away. Like, we're only 6 points away from making things somewhat respectable. What's your feeling, man? What are you thinking is going to happen? What's your expectation? What's your feeling? Can we salvage something? Or do you think it's just moments away from blowing up in our face again?
Hi, Miss. Hi, panel. Big up to all you guys watching. Okay, Miss. So there are two things that could happen. One is history that I shown, and secondly, what is most likely to happen. Funnily enough, I remember watching. Was it one of the ex-Spurs guys that was saying that surprisingly, Pochettino's squads tend to pick up form at the second half of the season through Southampton and through Spurs. That's what
Oh, really?
statistically has been found. That's what they said. Yeah, of course.
Didn't I
because-
say that about Havertz too?
Can we trust these stats, Alan?
Nah,
Is it true?
okay.
or-
So this is the second part where it comes in. The thing is, like what Tiger has been mentioning earlier, we are not playing and dominating games from the first minute to the 90 minute. And these games have clearly been seeing that Poch is using luck to get out of trouble. And eventually, as we all know, history has shown that when luck runs out, your time is gone. So, but the stupid part I feel is like, why are the sporting directors going to give him a transfer window, bringing more players, when ultimately, if we don't get top 4 or a top European space, which is very likely under this manager, they're going to sack him at the end of the season. And then what will happen? We'll be stuck with another bloated squad. We'll be stuck again looking for new managers. So it's kind of like redundant, I feel. But then again, I guess they want to give him the chance.
Interesting times, man. Tiger, you were going to say something. You were going to make a point.
Yeah, Miss. Yeah, I mean, I just went on Twitter, right? And I just dig deep on the timeline of Andrey Santos. And it's so funny, and it complements what I was saying. We'll get it just a very good insight into what the hell is happening in a club. Just listen to this, okay? Wait, let me just. Interesting. 2nd of
Go on,
June,
bro.
2023, and this is all Chelsea Express tweets, and he has been quite reliable, right? And he's not. He doesn't actually quote any rumor. He sometimes does, but it's quite reliable. 2nd June, Andrey Santos looks set to get his UK visa and is expected to be at Chelsea for pre-season. Nizar Kansela via London Blue Pod. Okay. He plays and plays and plays. What happens at 23rd July, mid pre-season after a few games, after Wrexham especially? 21st July 2023. Mauricio Pochettino praised the performances of Kesare Sazadai and Andrey Santos after the game against Wrexham. Then we move to 30th July. Mauricio Pochettino is impressed by young midfielder Andrey Santos and is increasingly considering keeping him at the club next season. Nizar Kansela, 21st July. Something happens. 24th July, Andrey Santos will be joining FC Porto on loan. Gets rumors record Portugal. Okay? So now rumors are coming of loan and all that. 31st July, again, Mauricio Pochettino wants to keep Andrey Santos and he's likely to stay. Fabrizio Romano. Then again, 8th of August, Mauricio Pochettino can go to some club. I cannot read the name. Luis Ramantelia, whatever the name is. Fabrizio Romano. Then again, 2 days later, Andrey Santos has a good chance to stay at Chelsea. While Carney Chukwuemeka will go to loan. And then, what happened? Andrey Santos goes to loan and Carney Chukwuemeka stays. I mean, can you see what I was telling? There is no structure to what we do over here. It's just, oh, this didn't work. Okay, let's do this. Oh, this didn't work. Okay, let's do this. This is what has happened. And that's what I wanted to. It got funny when I was researching while you guys were talking. It's the whole timeline.
Yeah, I remember all of these news, man. Absolutely remember it. And all of these things are gonna have an impact on how the manager, puts out the team in the second half of the season. And is there going to be pressure from the higher above to use certain players, this, that, the other? Let's go to Alhambra to talk about the second half. Alhambra, bro, what's your intuition saying? What's your expectation for the second half of this season?
Well, so if statistically, if we're going to talk about stats, okay.
We always love stats, bro.
We love a good statistic. Yeah. So in order to get 6th, let's say people are talking about 6th, Generally speaking, you need to be getting between 60 and 65 points.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's generally where you would say, okay, 65 points any given season, you'll get there. Actually, some seasons where it's a bit higher than that, and then there are seasons that they're lower, but that's the average. How many points are we on now?
28.
28. So we need 37 points out of these next 18
games, I think,
matches.
Yeah. What's that in average?
So on average, I think in order to get 37 points, you'd probably, the easiest way is to just win, 12 out of the 18 and one draw. Right. So you
need to get nearly 2 points per game.
2 points per game. 2 points per game is like, that's Champions League form. Generally speaking, 2 points per game is what will get you into the Champions League over the course of a season. So
Man City-esque form.
Yeah. Man City gets like 2.8 or whatever. It's ridiculous, right? So what we're asking for, really, okay, so if we say we're going to get 6th, what is 6th in terms of our season progression? So what we're asking for is, this half of the season was mid-table, and in the second half of the season, what we're asking for is this team to essentially play like they're Champions League top 14. So that now we've set the kind of framework here. Yeah. Is this team,
the delusional framework?
Okay, but this is it. This is people saying, yeah, we can get top 6. This is effectively what you're saying. So the question then is, are we going to suddenly, starting from, what is our next game on the mid January, right? Next Premier League game.
12th,
what is it? Fulham.
12th Jan.
12th of Jan. Fulham. So from then on in, we're going to perform like a top 4 team. That's basically what we're saying. No chance.
No chance.
Not a chance. No chance. That's not going to happen. So the reality is, we're probably going to end up where we are. This is our lot. Anyone that thinks that somehow January is going to change stuff, it's not going to happen. We got some incredibly tough games ahead of us. We still got to go to Liverpool. We've got Tottenham coming to us.
Man City away.
Man City away. We have tricky
Arsenal
games.
away.
Arsenal away. We've got Spurs coming over.
Spurs at home. Yeah.
Spurs at home. That's not going to be easy. So it's this is going to be, I think, a season where we'll come between 8th and 10th, or 8th and 12th, something like that. Bearing in mind as well that, fine, there are teams.
If we don't get injured.
We need everything right.
Yep.
We need
because there are a lot of cup games, right? FA Cup, Carabao Cup.
This is we are saying that everyone stays fit. Yeah.
If everyone stays fit, this is like ideal world. So, but here's the other funny part. We're inconsistent, and there are teams above us that are hugely inconsistent.
Yeah.
But I think that those teams probably get it together. I think if Newcastle gets back its full squad, it will stop sliding, and then there are other teams above us. But the issue is the teams below us are actually very consistent.
Yeah.
There's some really consistent teams below us. So we've got to look behind us.
Wolves a huge one.
Bournemouth.
Yeah.
It seems like Nottingham Forest have turned a corner.
Even Everton is going good.
Everton,
they
yes,
lost,
yes.
Everton, but I
Sean
mean, look,
Dyche.
Everton have had a horrible run of games, haven't they? But
Yeah.
but you would expect that Everton, are might pick up again, and let's not forget Fulham, who are our next
Yeah.
opponent.
Yes.
So we've got
Also,
this.
if United gets a new manager coming Feb or Jan end, they will also get that new manager bounce.
They could. I doubt they'll sack Ten Hag this.
I think they should,
mid-season.
he's
but
gonna get
that's
You know,
we're in there.
But look, I think with Man United, who knows? But West Ham are okay, Tottenham are okay, Newcastle are okay, Brighton a bit iffy and consistent. But we've the guys behind us, they're heading up as ahead of steam. I think the only teams really that just don't feel like, to me, are kind of like they're really sinking here. Brentford, Everton, and Palace. But everyone else, you could probably make a case that they will probably continue some of their good form. So the point is, any inconsistency from Chelsea, we're going to get severely punished in the table. The gap to the top 6 will continue to grow, and those teams behind us could well take us over. So people talking about 6th, look, that is just not possible. I think the key here is don't finish below 10th. Do not finish below 10th. Because
what does that achieve for us, though? Not finishing below 10th.
Conference
Can I
League.
just say this?
Conference
I
League.
cannot believe my ears listening to this chat. What do you mean 6 is not possible for us? We're Chelsea Football Club. What are you talking about? Of course it's possible for us. Now, will we do it is a completely other thing. And I understand some of the points you're making. But at the same time, that is just not good enough. If we cannot hit 6 by the end of the season, we only are 6 points off of 6th. That is not good enough. Would you disagree with that?
But you know
It's
what,
not good
Shervin, but you know what Alhambra is saying is that it's so highly unlikely because
No,
we
I understand what you're saying. I
we'll
agree
have
with
to
that.
we'll have to flip our form to
I agree with that as far as our. Oh, is Miz gone?
Miss Internet is hanging out. But I agree with Alhambra. Alhambra, I agree. I was just saying
the
that.
point he's making. Yeah.
But you guys know it's good to be 8th of how we were playing.
Here's the thing, though. We now have Nkunku
It's good to
back,
have some
right?
Europe in Conference League.
We have Nkunku back. Our team has had a lot of time to gel together. We have seen that at least Jackson is playing better when he's playing on the wing. Cole Palmer has settled into this team, so we should ideally be playing better than we were for the past couple of months.
Yeah, but Jackson is not there for AFCON, right? He's gone. Not that he was scoring 30 goals per day, but yeah.
But that's beside the point. I feel like Poch has had the preseason. Now he's had a couple of months with the team. The new players have had a couple of months to gel together. We're starting to kind of see some of those interplays between the players, at least up front.
I don't know.
We're getting a little bit better as far as scoring goals. Our defense is a shambles. That is something we need to sort out. But at least we can score goals. It's much better than what it was earlier on in the season, where we were losing 1-0 to Nottingham Forest or whatever at home. So I just don't see. I understand that 2 points per game is a top 4 form type of form that you need to have in order to get top 6 by the end of the season. But so, like, do you not agree that we have a team that should be competing at that level? I do think we do.
Nah, because
we have a team that can win that title, but yeah, then
a lot of things that we do as Chelsea fans, like we look at the team on paper, and we're like, all right, cool, on paper, like compare this team to this team, it's better, it's got better this, but like in reality, bro, the team sucks. Like, you get me? The team is awful, my guy. Like, and the team is terrible, bro. Yeah. And there's nothing, like, really and truly, like, I don't think people understand how bad we are. Like, there's nothing that can save us. There's not a player that can save us. There's not a manager that can save us. Because really and truly, what's happened is the board have ruined this club. Someone should make a Netflix special called How to Sink a Top 6 Club in Under 18 Months. Bro, we are finished. And it's not going to be like a short-term thing where it's like, okay, this season, maybe we can get this. And then after that, maybe we can move on. No. You see the way now Arsenal are kind of falling apart. And the story that I'm hearing is like all that stuff that happened under Wenger, under Unai Emery, and all that stuff is catching up to them now, innit? But like that, I think that's the same situation that we're gonna be in. You know, selling players like Kante, Mount. You know, getting rid of these kinds of players. It's gonna catch up to us eventually, and it's starting now, obviously. But I think expectations for this season has to be finish 9th. I think that should be our expectation, and then moving on after that, we should be, you know, have our Chelsea expectations back in it. But I expect us to be better by than last season, bare minimum, like that we should in it. But in terms of Champions League football, not Champions League football, but even Europa League, this team is not capable of doing it at all.
No, it's not. Just to put this more in context, you know, what you're asking from Poch and this team is a 67% win percentage. Klopp in this half of the season has got a 65% win percentage. It's not happening
though, because ties still give you points. So it's not.
Yeah, but we're talking about on average what gets you top 6. Okay,
I mean, let's win Conference League, lads.
If you
win 50%,
if you win 50% and tie 25%, you still get the same number of points. Is what I'm trying to say.
Let's complete a trophy cabinet, and I'm being very serious. We just don't have that trophy, right? The Conference League one.
just to put this point, either we have
let's win
a
it.
67% win percentage, or we go the rest of the season unbeaten.
No, we don't.
To get top 6.
No, guys, let me just explain.
That's how you get to mid-60s. Yeah.
Football doesn't work that way. I'm sorry, my man, but football doesn't work that way, because you could win half your games because you best believe top team's gonna drop points eventually. You know why? Because when you see these bottom teams, you're gonna see these Luton Towns, Sheffield United, Wolves, they're gonna fight for their lives to stay up in the Prem. So eventually the bottom team's gonna pick up points. The mid-table team's gonna pick up points. So it doesn't work that way. We don't need to win 18 games or, you know, have the biggest winning streak. We just need to minimize our losses. That's it. So we need to pick up draws.
Benji, you're right. Benji, you're right.
Draws.
So this is what Alhambra said. Let me break it down, right? Let me break it down.
Sure.
All right.
So we got 28 points. Okay, we got 28 points. How many games we got remaining for the end of the season? 18?
18, yeah.
18, yeah.
Okay. Do a simple math. Generally, how much points is generally needed to be 6th? How many total points do you need to have by the end of the season, generally speaking? Let's say roughly 65 points.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree?
That's what I'm looking at. So the last 4 seasons, 2 of them was 58, 59. The other 2 were 65, 62.
Okay. So let's say 60 gets it this season. 60. How many points are we away from 60?
Like
32?
32. So we need 32 points out of 18 games. So how many different combinations? How many losses can we have? Just give me how many losses can we have?
Well, it depends. If you win 9 games, and you tie 5, that's also 32 points, right? So that's not a win percentage of 67%. That's a win percentage of 50%.
Okay, so 9 out of 18 games win and 5 draws. So what essentially we're saying unbeaten for 14 out of 18 games.
Which is impossible. It's impossible.
Is that what we're saying? 14 out of 18 games unbeaten.
You could also win 10 and draw 2.
It's bro. We're not gonna win more than 2 games back to back. It's impossible. It's impossible. Like what you're asking.
Okay, I understand that, but at that point, then why is Pochettino here? Why not just sack him?
I understand, I understand, you know, setting the like the manager has to do something. I get it, and I agree in it. But all season we've seen this team win, draw, lose, draw, win, lose, draw, win. So we are not, bro. If we get 3 wins back to back, I would be more than happy. But we're not going to do that. We're not even going to get 2 wins, and then we're going to lose, and then we're going to try and get those wins again. It's impossible to ask this team to go on an undefeated streak of any kind. Even if it's just 4 draws, this team cannot do that. It can't win consistently again and again. It's impossible. So I think that's why we have to aim for like a 9-8. We can't aim for a 6 because we're not going to be consistent enough to get that. And let's just talk about the other teams for a second, yeah? Let's say we have Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. So those are 3. This is my opinion. I think those 3 teams are solidified for those 3 spots. Then you have 4, 5, 3 more positions. Do you think we're gonna? I think Newcastle are gonna bring him back. I think Aston Villa are pretty much gonna be there. So what we asking now? We have to be better than Spurs and Man United. We haven't been better than Man United all season, and we haven't been better than Spurs all season. So even if we did do all of these things, these other teams above us are better. Which is why I like what you're saying. We have to look below us because it's the teams beneath us who are gonna hurt our chances more than the teams above us.
And also, there's this idea somehow that, like, because the second half of the season starts, that somehow, like, we change.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not so sure. Even it's the same players, with the same manager, and
Nkunku's back.
You know, and Nkunku's back. But look, again,
and apparently he can defend.
Our savior.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Nkunku's back. Look, the fact is, these things generally, you always have a sense, like the fans. I get it, right? We all love Chelsea, and what we're all saying here is we would love. Don't get me wrong. I would love for this to happen. I would love for us to go like on a 10-game unbeaten run. We do like what we did in the Conte season, and we absolutely tear it up. Love it. Prove me wrong. I would, I can't lose if I'm proven wrong. I'll be very happy, even if we finish outside of the Champions League places. If we go into the next season on the back of a winning run, that's a very good sign for us. Because generally, as we saw with Aston Villa, that momentum carries through. But this team, as Akaka said, hasn't shown to us that it can go on winning streaks. This is one of the key parts to ever go up the table. You have to be consistent. You have to have a winning streak of some sort. Draws are not enough. If we're looking at sixth, draws are losses in that sense. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at what we would probably want is a running 5-game winning streak in order for us to get that momentum and climb up the table. We haven't shown us to be that way. That's a very separate conversation from the talent in this squad. Again, as like I said, on paper we've got this, we've got that, but mentally, do we know how to have a winning streak? We don't. We don't know how to do it. And it comes in those kind of like details. We don't know game management. We don't know how to defend leads. We're always quite vulnerable regardless of what the result
we almost gave in to Luton right at the end, being 3-0 down.
Right.
And that seems to happen on a regular basis. Arsenal, we caved
Thanks to the manager, miss. We have seen this so many times. We will not be losing a game for the first half of the match, but come to the second half, we don't know what Pochettino tells them, and they always capitulate.
Exactly. And when the biggest issue I have with Pochettino, and I want to bring in Feroz on this one, and then I'll go to Benji. I feel like this manager at times doesn't sense danger. Like, how us fans, we're all there when we're doing the watch-alongs, right? We're all hanging together, we're all watching together, we're all commentating, we're all there in the live chat. And we can all tell, oh man, I'm feeling bad. Like, there's a goal coming here. Like, you can tell the opposition's on top of us. Like, you can sense it. How's the manager not sensing this? When we were 3-0 up, you can see the wave of attacks from Luton coming. You can see them hitting the post, that header, that Petrovic. You can see them with the offside goal. That was alarm bells straight away. You can tell these guys are coming at us, like, lock up the game now. And then they score one. And you still don't lock up the game. Then they score two. And then you bring in Alfie Gilchrist right at the end, to somewhat trying to lock up the game and put 5 at the back, when you probably should have had 5 at the back as soon as it was 3-0 and there was only 20 minutes to go. So Feroz, I want to ask you, man, how do you feel moving into the second part of this season? Do you think, well, firstly, what is your expectation, and secondly, can we meet your expectation?
Well, I'd say like during preseason, right? Because I was there for one of the games, and everything just seemed so perfect. And one thing that all of us were saying, right, like Ben, Nazar, and I, all of us were like, the one thing that seems really good about the club and the situation right now is we have a manager, and this manager has like a proper aura, you know, like it seems like he knows what he's doing. Obviously, it was super early days with it being preseason, but just his presence in the press conference or when, you know, he's
It was a
talking to
different
players.
feeling. It was a
Yeah,
different feeling.
yeah, like it just seemed different, right? And I was just so confident with that because, you know, like when you see that, you get really, really like confident and not just on cocky, but when those results were coming, I was like, oh, fair enough. We got a good manager. Well, so it seemed at that time. And then obviously now, fast forward like a few months, the basic things, and not just when we're leading by like a few goals or a goal, or should I say, when the game isn't going right, playing a center back on the left side or playing a right back as a left back or playing a left back as a left winger, all these things just don't make sense and haven't made sense, right? Don't get me wrong, I still am going to back Poch. I still think Poch is the right guy, but some things he's done, I can understand why a lot of people are frustrated with him, like a lot. And you know what? It's tough to answer that because, as you said, they're basic things that a lot of people like us can just see off the screen, or, you know, just people on social media or people just watching can see, okay, this is not working, or a goal is going to come through the left side because they're just attacking it.
Yeah.
And then he just delays it. So that really has confused me. But at the same time, you know, I just feel like, you know, he will sort this, and hopefully, knock on wood, we don't have many injuries, and somehow, you know, like we make it, I'd say like top I'm gonna go in the middle because obviously some people are saying top 9 and top 6. I'm gonna say top 7ish, top 8, top 7ish, because the
Only Chelsea Football Club we can create new
yes,
tops.
because here's
Top sevens.
because here's the thing, right? When you process what I'm saying, like top 7, it's like the funniest thing in the world. But at the same time, as I said, we've been like 10th the last like 2 like years, and that's just
Yeah.
where we are. That's the reality. And unless, you know, somehow everyone is fit, which I don't think is ever gonna happen at the club, it's gonna be tough. But I think if we get a clinical striker in January, I don't know if we are gonna. That's just me being
We're
an
not.
optimist, delusional person. But I think that with Nkuku clicking and things slowly clicking, we might push it slightly, just because also of the fact that United are struggling and a few others like Newcastle might fall down eventually. You know, I just think these may be the reasons why I might be slightly optimistic, but I won't be way too much and say like top 4, top 5. You know,
Is there a breaking point for you though, Feroz? Is there a breaking point? Like, is there a point where you go, no, that's not acceptable? Say
it's tough
10th or
because
11th or 12th finish.
I feel like it's tough just because of the fact that what all of us have witnessed the last 2 years. You know, we've just experienced everything, all sorts of emotions, right? From the highs to the highs, lows to the lows. But of course, if you know, like we lose more games and it comes to like the 13th, 14th standing with a lot of like chaotic performances, that's when I'll be like, nah, like, you know, it's unacceptable. It's sad, but I just feel like a lot of things are just against us right now, the way we are playing, of course, injuries and all that. When I think about that, I go like, fair enough. But at the same time, I will not be too upset if he gets the sack if we are 10th, like 2-3 months down the line, because it is still Chelsea Football Club, right?
Absolutely.
Can I just add on to what he said?
Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
Just in terms, because I agree as well. Like, sorry, I don't remember your name.
Feroz.
Camera.
Feroz.
No, the only one with the camera. I don't remember your name, but in terms of
Sherwin.
because you're right. We're only 6 points away, so it's not like we're this astronomical number away from achieving that. So I do think if Poch doesn't do it, I think he should be sacked in it, because for me, my opinion is only based on the trauma we faced last season and how terrible the start of this season was, right? That's where my opinion comes from. But I'm not the owner, I'm not the whatever in it. So you should be looking at it and thinking, we are 6 points away. Maybe if I get a better manager, So I hope that they are thinking like that, and it's not just, oh, Poch is here for 2 years and definitely like whatever. Do you get me? So there do needs to be standards and an opportunity to get rid of this guy, like if he doesn't achieve anything.
No, I agree. Benji, my man.
I've heard,
Go on, bro.
I've heard what all of y'all said. I don't disagree because y'all just said it in different kind of perspectives. So, but first of all, I'm gonna just answer, the preseason one. I'm gonna just tell you this. We wouldn't play this way if we had healthy fullbacks. First of all, because if you remember why was already from day one. Basically, it was already from day one when when there was some issues with what's his name, Reece James and Ben Chilwell and everybody. Everything was starting already from there. You could kind of see that from that Liverpool game, and then we just kind of changed plan when the season went on because we didn't have those type of fullbacks, and I get it. So I sympathize with Poch, but at the same time, like, ain't good enough. So I'm gonna tell y'all this: top six was mine expectation. I still have it. I ain't dropping my expectations, but at the bare minimum, I expect Poch and this team to be around those places, to be around sixth to eighth and fight. Then Poch, if you drop out maybe, the last 2 weeks, then fair enough. You might get a sack, but you've done everything in your power at least to make sure the team is ready, to go all out and all of that. But if you can, then you better just leave because I'm looking at January and Feb because that's the hardest games we got on the schedule in terms of the big dogs.
Hmm.
So yeah, 6, 7 shouldn't be hard. And by the way, 7 probably is gonna be Europa League because I think Liverpool's gonna win it. So if they win it, we get an extra spot in Europa League and uh, what's the name? And Champions League because we have Aston Villa in Conference League, and they're gonna smash that competition. So we have chances. So we got chances.
We also got chance through FA Cup, Benji, as well. Like if we
There you go. So
win that.
and that's also something we need to do deep cup runs. So we gotta smash Preston and we gotta smash Middlesbrough. And I don't want to go to Wembley for the third time in a row. Not in a row, but third time in a row meeting the same team and lose to them again. If we go to Wembley, you best believe I want to win that fucking. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I want to win that trophy because I hate that team so much. Because we should have won the.
It's a must.
We should have won the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. I can agree that Kepa one was, that was a little bit mad. But we should have won the FA one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't want to lose to this team again. Like, yeah, they might be better, but it's not about the players. I've always said this. It's not about the players. It's about the mentality you bring to the players. Like what are you showing them? Like what do you want them to do? Like how much do you want them to fight for you? Like everything is like psychology kind of. Everything is psychology. So you have to think what Poch is trying to do. Is there something behind the scenes that we don't know? That the
Do you know what,
directors
Benji?
might.
Do you know what, Benji? I agree with you, man. Like I don't know if you guys watched Girona last night.
Yeah.
I watched
I watched
Girona
them
last
yesterday,
night.
bro. That was an
It
entertaining
was the
game.
first
Great
time I
game.
watched them. It was the
Fantastic
first
game.
time I watched them, and I don't want to sort of go too ahead of myself, but I really enjoyed how they play. I really enjoyed it. Now, I don't know how long that brother has been the manager over there, Mikel Sanchez. I think that's his name. I don't know how long he's been the manager over there, but Girona was a nobody. Like Girona was a nothing team, and they assembled these players from many different areas and they brought them together. And he's doing a madness. He's doing an absolute madness in the
Yeah.
league.
Messi was
So
also rumored
Second
to
in
be
the league.
Newcastle manager today.
yeah, he was rumored to be Newcastle. Look, I think Newcastle needs to just calm down. I think Eddie Howe is probably the right guy for them. But coming back to the point, what Benji you were saying, that like Poch now has been with this team for a while. Like you've had your you've been around for more than 6 months. Like
Yeah,
you got to put this team together now to
that's
play
the thing.
your way, to be able to play, kind of football that you want them to play. And as you said, Benji, I agree with you, man. Like the manager needs to motivate this team to perform better.
That's the
Like,
thing.
I
You
always
know,
look at the manager. I always look at the manager, man.
you know when people say, "Oh, the place should take responsibility," I always say, "I then you go and take some responsibility with your life." Do you know how hard it is? It's very hard. Like it's like people don't actually understand how hard it is to be an athlete. Like how hard it is to be motivated, how hard it is to stay in top shape. Eden Hazard is one example, but he was a freak,
Mm.
so that was an exception. Messi, exception. But I can name so many other players that did the same thing but flopped. Jaden Sancho.
Yeah.
Young players, they need or
Motivation. You're right.
don't let me say young players. I mean I mean my generation, because I'm this generation too, and I'm an athlete too. We need, that little man management, that hug type of management, because we need that motivation, because you can't do that alone. And when you don't have all the figures in your team, now is really, really up to the staff and the manager to make sure everybody is in line. And that's why I said, when you don't give the trust to players, of course they're gonna drop stinkers like Madsen. Because Madsen, when he had that trust from company, he was one of the best players
He was
in
killing it,
in,
bro.
in the second league.
Killing it.
He
Yeah,
was
yeah,
killing it.
yeah.
So it's down to trust. Like, it's down to giving trust. You have to let players flop. Like, give Madueke a run of games. He will miss chances, but at least he will get more confident. He will get more confident. He will boost up his confidence, because I've seen Madueke both in the under 21s, in PSV, and in Chelsea. This guy is a one-on-one demon, first of all. Yeah, he might not be, that type of finisher, but you can learn to be a finisher. It's not hard. You can learn to be a finisher.
Mm.
It just takes time. And if you're patient enough and works hard, you should be able to meet those goals. So that's what I say. I won't be. For example, Alhambra, he said ninth, I think. I don't blame him,
Mm.
because of what he's seen. I don't blame him. But at the same time, we shouldn't think as a mid-table club. We should always think as a top, like the top dogs. Okay, if we have an off season, we should be at least minimum fifth, sixth. I'll accept
Yeah.
seven. I'll accept seven, but we ain't that far enough. So the only thing I'm saying is, you better compete between that sixth and eighth place. Just
Yeah.
compete. Just compete. You don't have to finish there, but if you compete between fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, the whole winter and the whole uh until maybe, let's say, April, and then you fall off a little bit, then fair enough. Then you've done everything in your power, and we might look at you. Are you really ready? Do you need another season? We're gonna give you to maybe, I don't know, October next season to show us who you really are. If you don't, then we're gonna stack you. You know what I'm saying? You have to
Mm.
do it that way, because we can't just hire and fire like we did back in those days, because it ain't sustainable. Because now managers gonna just see that as an opportunity to get money. That's literally how managers do nowadays. They come in, even if you're gonna destroy your reputation. It's not really hard to, get that back. You just have to be successful. Do your shit, play your shit, and do it correctly, and you're gonna get it back. So yeah.
I have a Miz. I have a
Bro
question. I
exposing
know that
Potter.
you asked
Go on,
the
bro.
questions, but I have a question because his brother's raised some really excellent points. So here's my question on the back of that.
Mm.
Because I think it's an interesting one, right? So you've got all these talented players, and they need, at the same time, they need a little bit of support and a hug, right? And they need to just flourish.
Yeah.
So here's the question: how do you balance between having too high expectations and then having them crumble under the pressure? And this comes from the fan base as much as it is from, say, the manager. And then just accepting where we are to potentially in the future, let's say next season, have them really flourish and realize their potential. Are we doing them a disservice by saying that we should come sixth and start on a run of these 5-6 games unbeaten, where maybe they won't realize their potential? So how do you balance between the two? Because look, I see some of the comments in the chat as well. My comments aren't to say that I accept the situation.
Yeah.
I don't accept it, but I'm being realistic about
You're
what
being
is
realistic.
possible.
Yeah, you're being realistic.
So I want them to come top 4. I want them to come, hopefully, at some point in the future, challenge for the title, win the title. Every Chelsea fan wants that. But anyway, the point is, how do you balance between these two? Because we know what we've got
Can I
in front
answer
of us
that,
now.
actually?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think pressure creates diamonds. And if you don't put pressure on these players, they're always going to be right exactly where they are right now.
I was just going to say the same thing.
I was about to say that
the
too.
same thing.
I was about to say that too.
Well, I'm glad that we all think the same.
Yeah, because to go back to Alhamra's question, like if we set up a standard that from the get-go we kind of give the feeling to the managers that, it's very, very highly unrealistic that you're going to get 2 points per game, or I don't know, the 32 points, 36 points, whatever it is out of the remaining matches. If we give them the impression that that is impossible, don't worry about that, get something in between or get something in the middle, believe me, they'll get something even worse. Because they'll be like, well, looks like I don't really have to thrive for excellence at Chelsea Football Club. Looks like Chelsea Football Club don't want to overachieve. They're okay. They understand. Just meets requirement, basically. As long as we're coming 9th, then it's fine. Well, we're 10th, so 9th is not going to be that difficult from 10th, right? So then what happens is you're going to end up being 15th because the players become complacent.
Miss,
So,
you remember that report that was circling around Twitter a few days back, like few months back now, that the owners really don't care about the Premier League and the table positions.
Yeah.
It was around that Carabao Cup
I know.
match against Newcastle. So they really don't care. They just want some Europe. So maybe we are over expecting
European football.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
They are very clear about what they want.
I'ma just tell y'all this. If y'all believe that, that's a big fat lie, because that was basically because they thought that Champions League was basically automatic, but it ain't. So for the owners to get revenue, first of all, we need a bigger stadium. We just need a bigger stadium, because revenue through stadium, that's like key number 1. Then you got Champions League, and then you have the league, or then you have the league and then Champions League, then you have the cups. So,
bro, but what's the point of having a bigger stadium and no one watching the game when you play shit?
do you really think? Do you really think? Question: do you really think, even if we are shit, don't you really think that people's gonna come into Stamford Bridge and just be there? I don't say support. I didn't say support.
I'm just saying, just compare the attendance of Champions League versus, say, Conference League. If we are playing that, it surely has some difference. I mean, I'm not saying that no one will come. We're Chelsea through and through, and there are a lot of fans who will support through thick and thin.
I think it would still be full.
Then there is an issue.
I think it will still be full. I'm pretty sure the stadiums will still be full.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you know how many diehard fans there is?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Blue. Like
they'll even watch us if we're in Championship. Like they'll watch us. The stadiums will be full even if we're in Championship.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like Sunderland, for example. Sunderland was the big Premier League team. Now they're in Championship. Do you know that stadium is always packed? Always packed.
But even on the stadium part,
it doesn't matter where you play. It doesn't matter where you play.
But
yeah, the expectations, you have to meet them.
Brother, even on the stadium point, if you remember, even on the stadium one, right? You're saying we should build the biggest stadium. Absolutely agree. I mean, obviously, we should have the best stadium in the world. I'm not denying it. But they were trying to build some stadium, away from Stamford Bridge. And even on
Yeah,
that
and that was
topic,
the best option. That was the best option we
the
had.
audience was no, but that you are saying that a lot of fans were against that, and maybe
Okay,
are still
that's
against
not
that.
that's not fans. That's the
Even
pitch
even
owners.
in that, we don't agree, like with the owners, like the fan base. So
No,
But
no, no,
that's
no,
even
also
no,
problematic.
those
no, no.
fans would still go to the games, though. Even if they
I
didn't.
respect you, but I'm gonna cut you off right there. I'm gonna cut you off right there. If you go to the games and ask people, do you want to move? If people
Yeah.
had to choose between Earl's Court and staying Stamford Bridge, and you explain to them, the majority of them would choose Earl's Court. Earl's Court is much better. The area is just perfect. It's perfect for us because now it's the new chapter. To get out to the station, first of all, from Stamford Bridge, that's a pain in the ass because I've been there myself. It's a pain in the ass.
Mm.
But from Earl's Court, you got, I think it was 3 different stations. So
Yeah.
when you get out of the exit, now you can take 1, 2, and 3. So the location is much better. Now I think you could build up to 70K seats. That's much better. And it might be another area, but come on now, you move
I think
like,
I,
yeah,
I
go
think
on,
you're
Max.
right, Benji, man. I think it's about the pitch owners. They're the ones who are making the big fuss about the whole stadium redevelopment. But anyway,
That's it.
we're getting away from the point. The point is, what's realistic and what's not realistic is in terms of expectation from next season. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap things up. We're nearly gone for 2 hours. It's nearly 10:30, 11 p.m. for me. So I'm starting to feel very, very tired and I'm feeling a bit sleepy. So I'm going to have to head off. But before I do that, Brian, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Appreciate that. So we've got Big Up Miz and the Coin Gang, up the Chelsea New York Blues. Excellent. Big up to you,
Big up,
Brian.
man.
Brian, again, thank you so much for the super chat. I would like a stadium, but not under this ownership. Yeah, look, I'm going to wrap things up. All I'm going to say is that it is going to get very, very interesting in this second part of this season. I think emotions will be up and down like a roller coaster, and I'm pretty sure all you guys will have so much to say in the upcoming matches.
More than you can believe.
More than you can believe. More
More
than
than
you
you
can
can
believe.
Let's just win Conference League, lads. Let's settle on Conference League.
Look,
Let's aim for Conference League.
At this point, honestly, where our season's at and how it's been, I would take any form of Europe, because we need
True.
to get into Europe and we need to utilize our entire squad and get them up and running and get them more games. Because the Premier League is getting harder and harder, and we are so far behind. We need as many games as possible for our players to play more often and just develop more. Quicker. Game situations will improve our players a lot more, because training sessions in this era is just a piece of crap. Really, they don't really do much. It's not like back in those days when training sessions used to be harder than the match. The match was really just a Mickey
The
Mouse thing
games
on the
was
side.
practice.
Yeah, the games were the practice. So, look.
Also, it's not Mourinho at the helm, so
exactly,
that
it's
makes
a
the difference.
new generation of players, and it's different. But we've got Preston coming up, ladies and gentlemen, over the weekend. So that is going to be interesting as to how the team line up. Who's going to play and
6-0
who's
at
going to get
least.
the opportunity. We have to and then try to see as possible in the FA, and then
Damn, is it just me? But it's lagging.
yeah, there we go. I've
End of
just
the show.
I think I might be back again. There you go, I'm back. And then after Preston, we've got Middlesbrough. So that is a very,
4-0.
very important game. Well, yeah.
Inshallah.
Please.
I mean, it's shameless if we are not winning by these margins. I'm just saying that.
Man. You know what? We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see, but it's gonna be very, very interesting. This winning season. To see where we land. The expectations and everything. But I just want to big up you guys. It's always nice, come here and agree and disagree. Alhambra, you made some nice points because I like when you guys make me think. I appreciate that. To everybody, when you make me think.
Alhambra's the special one, man. He's the special one here.
Alhambra makes you think, man. I made him think eventually, so I'm
Conspiracy
gonna
theories.
too,
Played the reverse Uno card on him.
Come on, man. Come on.
I just want to add this one.
Gang.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait. Akaka was saying today that some Netflix thing. Miss, what? I was just watching. I'm sure you guys have must watch those All or Nothing for different teams, like All or Nothing, Arsenal on the Prime. I was thinking that are they making it for us too? Because we are also not good from the past 2 seasons. And now what I'm thinking is maybe they make the video and they're like, okay, now we'll release it. Now Chelsea's coming back, but then Chelsea again. They're waiting for us to come back, and we're not doing that. It's getting postponed and postponed.
Sorry to cut you off. Chelsea rejected.
That's in about 10 years.
Chelsea rejected approaches from Amazon and Netflix for this.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, we know there is no comeback coming. Yeah.
I'm back. Here we go. I'm back. Look, I'm gonna wrap things up because the internet's just been mad. But yeah. The Netflix thing, I think there was a talk that our owners would like that. So I'm pretty sure someday that's going to happen. Anyway, big up to each and every one of you guys. Big up to the live chat as well. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the members who have come in. Next time we're going to meet each other after the Preston game. Actually, we might even, because I start the stream earlier on, so I've just thought of something the last few days. Might actually have you guys even before the match starts and after the match starts as well. So pre-match, members call in. Post-match, members call in, so make sure you guys are in for that particular event on that day. Until next time, everyone, take care. See ya.
Big up the chance.
Thank you.